Just moments ago, the Department of Justice released the final 80,000 pages from the file on President John F. Kennedy's assassination. It's been more than 61 years since JFK was killed in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, now NBC5 investigates what may be in those top secret files and whether we'll finally learn whether the Chicago outfit had a hand in one of America's worst days ever. Our investigative reporter Chuck Goudie has been looking into the JFK assassination for decades now. Chuck, I know we're trying to get all the facts and figures here. What have you been able to uncover?
Well, let's start with a little bit of context, guys. War and Peace has about 1,300 pages. The Bible comes in about 1,500. This JFK final file is 80,000 pages. And mob watchers here will be sorting through each page for additional evidence of Chicago plots against President Kennedy, plots that were never consummated before that deadly day in Dallas. On November 22, 1963, here in Dallas, investigators have long concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald shot and killed President Kennedy from a sniper's perch along JFK's motorcade route. But questions about how Oswald managed the murder plot and whether anyone else was involved have been fed by the U.S. government's refusal to make public the entire case file. President Trump promising a full and complete release of the last 80,000 pages. Do you expect there to be any earth-shattering news that will come out of this?
I suppose you never know, but no, I don't expect there to be. It's a possibility there's something in there, but I'd be really surprised.
Northwestern University history professor and JFK case expert Kevin Boyle tonight tells NBC Chicago that 99% of the JFK file has already been released and that the final files were held back to protect sensitive information that may not even be related to the Dallas attack. Mob watchers here will be looking for additional information from this day, November 2nd, 1963, Soldier Field on the lakefront. President Kennedy was to attend the Army Air Force football game here, but JFK reluctantly canceled his trip to Chicago that day after these Secret Service records say a Cuban exile provided evidence of a plot to attack the president's motorcade from O'Hare, and they found an arsenal in a motel room along the way. And that plot followed the separate arrest of this man, ex-Marine Thomas Valley, caught with high-powered rifles and ammo in his car trunk en route to a job that would have given him direct aim at JFK's motorcade.
If it was a conspiracy at all, the two most likely avenues for that run through organized crime, which then gives you that Chicago connection you're mentioning, or through Cuba. And of course, those two pieces are connected because Cuba had been a major center for organized crime before the Castro Revolution. Havana was a major gambling center back in the days when the United States didn't have many major gambling centers.
There is a belief by some in federal law enforcement that more than a half dozen separate plots targeting JFK existed in 1963, including the Chicago mob, all of them not necessarily part of an overarching conspiracy, but reflecting numerous motives against Kennedy and his family at the time. They say the assassination could just as easily have been in Chicago on November 2nd as it ended up on November 22nd in Dallas. We'll see what tidbits there may be.
And I know you've been looking at your phone trying to get a look at the PDF, so we'll let you get to that.
Right, there's no early read on it yet, but
okay.
we'll be on top of it.
I know
got some reading to do.
Thanks, Chuck.